This week on Waxing the Porpoise, G-Baby and the usual suspect Steve welcome a very special guest, the astutely articulate and affable arbiter of authenticity, Randew from the Straight Chilling podcast, to discuss a midnight fever dream psycho meets LSD tableau Sangre from 1989. Join us as we ask the question, is it a good idea to give the residents of an asylum cocaine and prostitutes, or is it a great idea? From visuals so psychedelic you might think you've dropped acid, to mommy issues that would make even Freud uncomfortable, this gringo circus runs the gamut. Let's wax this armless porpoise.
Chase, don't do that.
You see, we working on his brow chakra. We're just back in the crown chakra.
All right, welcome to Waxing the Porpoise. We are back again here on episode 50, brought together to discuss 1989's Sangre. This is one I have never seen. I've always wanted to see, so this is a first-time watch for me, breaking format a little bit. Before we get into it, this evening you have, as always, myself, Jim G. Baby.
Operator with an emergency breakthrough from your sister. Samson and Sheila. Mama failed. Shut up, bitch.
And, of course, to my virtual right, we have the usual suspect, Steve.
He's a pedantic, pontificating, pretentious bastard, a belligerent old fart, a worthless, steaming pile of cow dung. Figuratively speaking.
How's it going, man?
I'd have got him 10.
Yeah. Tiffany's!
Doing good, man. Good to see you.
I can't believe I haven't pulled that one out earlier. And we have the distinct honor and pleasure this evening of rounding out the Straight Chilling crew. We finally caught them all. 1/3 of the Straight Chilling crew. We are pleased and honored to have Randew.
I came to pay my respects to my godfather and extend my best wishes for his recovery, which I hope will be swift and painless.
How's it going, man?
It's great. That's a terrific clip that is very ominous for me.
Yeah. Don't read too far into it. It was just like one of the more obscure and one of my favorite ones from The Return that I could think of. So I like to put a cherry on top and tailor it to whoever we have coming on to join us.
I love it, man. Thank
Welcome.
you very much. I'm excited. I've been meaning to get my porpoise waxed, and I've heard it's a very liberating experience. Let's get me cleaned up.
Yeah, I'll let you be the judge by the time we get this thing waxed off.
All right.
Wax on. Yeah, so Randy, do you want to just preface where you're from real quick before we get into it?
Well, I was born... No, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, so I am a co-host on the Straight Chilling podcast. If I have any claim to fame, I guess it's that. And man, it's a pretty lame one. But that's our horror movie podcast, me and two of my buds who have been on this podcast once before each. Maybe more than once, I'm not sure.
One each, yeah.
One each? Okay, cool. So, we do horror movie reviews. We do it weekly. We've been doing it for too many goddamn years now. We're going deep into the 400s, an episode count at this point. So,
wow,
it's a long-running thing. And you can find us at straightchillingpodcast.com or in any of the quote-unquote podcatchers you might use. We're the Straight Chilling Podcast. Can't miss it.
Word. Yeah. I mean, everyone who's listening to this show knows about you guys, and I've sung your praises, and they know where to find you for sure. But nonetheless, it's last but not least, I'm super stoked to have you on, particularly for this kind of film, and for this film specifically. After watching it, I think this will be kind of a good fit with you, kind of being the scholar of Straight Chilling, and me just liking wacky shit, and Steve being our resident fish out of water, is the way I described it. I figured this would be like the perfect melting pot for this movie. It's just to kind of throw it against the wall and see what sticks. So, here we are.
I hope I can live up to that expectation because, my God, this is a high bar. It's not a movie that's going to be without its wacky bullshit to talk about. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, totally. And Randy's being modest, so we're in good company. So I know we'll have a good time, and we'll have some we're not going to break any new ground on reviewing this, but I'm excited to get into it nonetheless. So, Steve, right out of the gate, what'd you think of this one? And can I guess real quick? I'm going to say, in my heart of hearts, I'm going to say you actually liked this film.
Yeah, I
Yes
did
or
like
no?
it. Yeah, definitely.
Damn, yes.
I don't know.
All right.
I wouldn't call it like a mass appeal. You know, I don't think this would be one that I would tell the old lady, like, oh yeah, you should have watched this one with me. But it definitely struck a lot of my chords of the things that I enjoy. It's fucking
Nice.
weird.
It is weird as shit, man. And I was on the fence. There was a couple parts I was like, I think we may have lost Steve around here, but I was like 75-25 rooting that you were going to like it. So, and yeah, this isn't like I mean, it sounds kind of trite, but it's like a piece of moving art. It's not really like a film that you can like kick back and enjoy in a standard movie going.
Yeah. I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibility that if the ending had been a little different, that it could have lost me. Because I think the ending really brought it together, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. Because I just kept wondering, like, where is this going? This could be a total abomination if it ends in some, you know, heady, like weird, unclear. But I kind of like the way they brought everything, wrapped it all up, and yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I felt like I was having a nightmare for 2 hours straight. But
I was surprised at, like, for as abstract as it is, it did kind of like tie things up in a somewhat linear way at the end, which is kind of strange. But yeah, I guess in hindsight, I should have figured, with that kind of a wrap up to it. That I know that's one thing you're definitely not one that likes the it's left up to the audience to decide or interpretation, even though I think there's still room for that in this flick too. But cool. Had you ever heard anything about this before? This is complete blind, 100%.
Nope.
Okay.
Zero.
On to our guest, Randew. I'm sure you were familiar with this one, but you had never seen this either?
No, actually, this experience has been my introduction to Jodorowsky. Jodorowsky? Always want to say Jodorowsky, but that's not right.
Yeah, I think your first pronunciation was correct, the most correct, but I'm sure we'll go back and forth on it.
Yeah, it was my introduction, and I only really knew the name. Name maybe the cover of, whatever poster edition is on streaming services I might have seen around, and I had the impression that it was artsy bullshit, which is my thing, I guess. It's how I'm inducted into podcasts with that knowledge. So, so I think everything was a shock to me with this one, and not just because it's kind of that kind of movie, but because I had no basis of knowledge going in.
Yeah, that's the same for me too. I think I heard the name thrown around, kind of like, in the same vein as like you hear Argento and Fulci. Like, I don't think those are straight one-to-ones, but like for me, like my level of awareness is kind of where I kind of grouped that in, because I've only seen like the greatest hits of those directors, like Crystal Plumage and Suspiria, very like their top level stuff. And actually I think my first introduction to Jodorowsky was, I don't know how, like they just did a Dune documentary about, I think it was like The Lost Dune or something like that, or Jodorowsky's Dune, I think is the documentary. And me just like not knowing anything about that, I saw like the cover art for it. I was like, that looks rad. And I watched it, and it was super weird documentary, first of all, but that was my intro to him, and like kind of like an outsider looking in at this like super weird, avant-garde director, and like the things that he was going to do with Dune are super interesting. And I saved that kind of for the end in the trivia and about this director more. But yeah, that was that's the only thing I knew about this guy. And I had heard like the name Sana Sangre, and like the top level, a mom with no arms, the son is using the arms like as like by proxy, and like I saw the cover art and I was like, that looks pretty wild. Looks like it'd be up Randew's alley, and I think this would be cool to talk about. So
big fan of the limbless. It's interesting that you brought up the Dune thing, because actually now that I was just thinking to myself, actually that's how I know Jodorowsky as well, is not by having watched that, but because my dork ass has been on the David Lynch subreddit before and on the Twin Peaks subreddit before, and so Dune comes up, and so Jodorowsky's Dune comes up. And they treat it very derisively, as I recall. So I was like, I don't know. I guess this just never got made, and people think it's a wank-off fest, but they like the David Lynch Dune, so I don't know what they're complaining about exactly. So, I don't know.
Yeah, in the documentary, there's definitely a lot of controversy behind it and like what he wanted to do with it. But to then see what happened with Lynch's, I mean, I'm one of the kind of like, I have no stakes in it. I'm fine with Lynch's Dune. I saw it at a young age, so I kind of group it in with like Willow and shit like that. Like it was just a funky, fantastical kind of sci-fi fantasy growing up
the
with cool practical
all AI
effects.
art now, apparently, is those kind of dark 80s adventure movies. Have you seen that AI art? Like all the Mid-Journey stuff all looks like that shit. It all looks like Blade Runner meets, I don't know, fucking American Gladiators. Like really bizarre shit.
Yeah. I just actually huge side tangent. I just stumbled across this dude that makes shit that is like in the vein of the Too Many Cooks, but it's like an even funkier, weirder parallel version of that. And so he has all these slides, and it's like, you know, like introducing Buster the Cat, but it's like this big fucking like grotesque like bull creature, but he's sitting down with like a family of 4 in like, you know, like a 90s suburban household sitcom is like this context of it all, and it just gets weirder and weirder. And like you see the problem with the hands, like people having like 9 digits on one hand. It's pretty funky, but it's super cool to look at too at times. Cool. So yeah, this is a first time watch for all of us. And did you dig it?
I did. I similarly to, it sounds like you guys, or it sounds like at least to Steve, I had sort of like a roundabout journey to deciding that I liked it, and the ending also kind of clinched it for me. I was like, okay, so like it made it easier to contextualize some of the weirdness. And what was hard about this movie is that it's sort of like, it's the opposite of handholdy. You're not going to get your hand held at any level with this movie. Sometimes, at least for like the first maybe hour of the movie, it's very like, it feels like you're like, if you're imagining the beats of the movie as like, you know, rocks in a pond that you're skipping to, it's like you skip across several at once. All of a sudden it's like, whoa, what's the context for this? Who the fuck is this? Like, you just have to piece it together as you go, and not in a whodunit kind of way, in a I'm so fucking confused kind of way.
Yeah. And there's pretty big swaths in that first hour with very minimal like dialogue, so you have even less to go off, even if it was super abstract and people were talking and there was like plot stuff going on. This is very bare bones. It's like, it's almost like set pieces like of different like of art, and you're kind of going your way. I mean, I'll be lying if I didn't say, if I weren't doing this for the podcast, if I just threw it on just to watch it for the first time, probably by the 45-minute mark, if it didn't start to pick up a little bit, I could see myself just giving up on it, maybe trying to get another day. But I'm glad I pushed through, because, and not to jump on the bandwagon, but I think the third act definitely clinched it for me in liking this one too. So sounds like an enjoyable yet weird ass flick for all of us in the end.
It's a big pill, but it's worth swallowing, I think.
Yeah,
Steve?
I mean, because there were so many parts where I found myself just being confused, and then kind of like you're talking about later, it's all sort of cleared up, where it isn't just one of those movies that's going over the top to confuse you just for the sake of like, oh, isn't this so crazy, and we're going to throw you this way and then that way. It's like all of the confusion makes sense by the end of it. So I enjoyed that, and I didn't feel like they were just trying to, you know, kick up a bunch of dust and confuse you for no other reason than just because.
Right on. I guess easing into this, we won't do like a full synopsis, but I thought like the beginning we start with a flash forward or present day rather we start the movie, and I thought it was pretty weird the way we start, and automatically there's a guy on top of like the fucking
male nudity.
Yeah, that
opening,
and he's perched upon this like perfect tree that's placed in this like, it looks like an asylum type scenario, and he's like screeching like a bird. So I'm like, okay, he thinks he's a bird. And they offer him food, like normal food, and he's like, nah. And then there's just like a big salmon or a bass, and he's like, "Rah!" And fucking dives down. I was like, dude, what are we in for here?
That's fascinating, because I like, until I just watched this yesterday, so like I finished it this morning, started it yesterday, so it's very fresh for me. I did not even make the bird connection, but that makes a lot of sense considering like the tattoo situation and all that stuff. There's a lot of bird symbols in this. I just never really pieced that together.
Yeah, and his name's Phoenix, and so he like thought he was that's what I thought, like at the beginning, like, well, after watching it and then seeing like the tattoo and all that kind of stuff, Phoenix, like, oh, he thinks he's a bird. He reverted into some kind of mental chrysalis, like to protect his psyche that I'm a bird, but and it's spelled like, think Phoenix TX, not Pahanix. It's the way he spells it, which I think is pretty rad spelling. But this guy's actually Jodorowsky's one of his sons is plays that role, and then the younger version of him is his yet another son of his who is younger. So kind of.
I also just was looking at the IMDb, and the pimp is also it's somebody else Jodorowsky. I don't know if it's an older son or if it's a brother or cousin, but.
Yeah, I saw that too. I almost clicked on it, but I had already gone down such a actor rabbit hole on this film that I was like, all right, I need to.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's like Smith or Jones. You just hear that name all the time, so it could just be.
The census guy must be pulling his fucking hair out with this name.
I guess, yeah, some interesting stuff too about the creation of this. So the and a fun quote to begin that I found was so I guess so Dario Argento's brother Claudio Argento co-wrote this with Jodorowsky, and I guess he was the inspiration or like the thrust. They were at Cannes Film Festival in like the early 70s or mid 70s. And he had the idea for it. And then, so some years later, they finally got together to make it. And right before Jodorowsky was about to start making Sound of Sangre, I guess there was a pretty big gap in his directorial career. And a journalist at Cannes that year in like 87 said that he was rusty. And Jodorowsky said, I said, yes, but a rusty knife is twice as deadly because not only can it cut you, it can poison you because of the rust. So don't get any ideas.
That's some fucking Dwight Schrute bullshit, man.
Yeah.
I love artist types. Like, I watched this like 5-minute interview with Roberto Leone, who's a co-writer on this as well. And he was telling about how it got going for him. And Jodorowsky like flew him out. He read the script and he liked it. And he's like, I'm going to fly you out, just the writer. Come on out here. I want to get to know you. And apparently he was wearing all purple down to his shoes and socks. And it's like, we're going to a bar. And then he took them, like he already knew where he was going to take him. And he's like, he sits him down and he's like, did you know that you're a thief? And the guy's like, what do you mean? I don't understand. He's like, when did you come up with this idea? And he tells him like, oh, it was in March like 20th or something. I finished it up. And he's like, that was the night that I was visited by the ghost, but I was sleeping, so it came to you instead. That's my idea. And like they have a big laugh, apparently. I'm like, that is fucking bananas bullshit.
Yeah. Damn. This guy's even more of a card than I thought. Damn.
I love it. I kind of want to hang out with this guy.
Yeah,
maybe.
It sounds like it. Based on some other stuff, some other quotes from him too. Like he sounds like a real character for sure. Cool. All right. So yeah, I guess it's hard not to touch on, like, right out of the gate, I was getting like some Giallo vibes from this a little bit. It kind of, and I think when the mom stuff starts coming in too, you can't help but think of like Psycho, kind of. On drugs. And it's funny too, what did he say? one of his quotes was he wanted this film to mimic being on acid without being on acid. That's a direct quote from Jodorowsky too, and I say mission accomplished. At least
That's
in
funny.
some
It
part.
reminded me of like if you take too much cough medicine. That's what I kept thinking of. Like this is making my skin crawl a little bit. But
I know that the
road
words
tripping.
fever dream are thrown around a lot, but that does seem about the right speed. I don't know what acid's like, so
yeah,
or LSD or
I've
whatever.
never done it myself.
Yeah, me neither. I have done mushrooms, and I've heard some anecdotes that acid's just like a dirtier, more kind of gritty version of that. It's a little bit more intense. So, who knows? Your mileage.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I've heard so many people say, "Oh, it's life changing. You got to do it at least once." And then for every one of those I hear, like people that like get fried like for life, or it like fucks you up just one time. So I'm like, that's kind of why I still have glasses, and I'm not gonna do the laser surgery because I just if there's a chance like I could go blind, I'm not.
Well, yeah,
not for it.
I'm just terrified to do all that stuff. But I mean, my partner Beck and I have had this discussion already that once we hit like 85, all systems go. We're fucking trying everything, and by then it'll probably be like round at the corner of CVS or whatever.
Yeah, seriously, the way things are going, shit. I never would have pictured like 20 years ago that you'd be able to fucking just like walk into a dispensary like in like the full like a recreational state. Like,
well,
does your app? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say LASIK today versus let's see. I was in 6th grade, so this was I don't know 20, 25. I don't know how the fuck old I was. 20 to 25 years ago or whatever. One of my classmates brought in, her mom had gotten an early version of LASIK, and she brought in the video because they filmed it. But dude, it was like, it looked like torture because she's awake. They have this thing that holds her eye open. They've got like an old school credit card machine looking thing that comes in and is like, and fucking like cuts. And I'm looking around in my 6th grade Christian school class like, why the fuck are we watching this? Why did you bring this in? She's like, isn't
that's
this
the
cool?
most heinous
And
I've
now
ever
it's
heard
just
of
they
my
just
life.
take a little laser and they're like, burp, you're good. So
Dude, that
who
is
knows?
fucking heinous.
So imagine 20 more years. It's like, here, take a pill. Your eyes work now.
Yeah, right.
What prison is that kid in now?
Dude, it was gnarly.
Yeah, that seems really weird, especially for Christian school, letting that kind of thing fly.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing, Karen? Her name was Karen and she was in 6th grade. So poor
I know
gal.
what she grew into.
Her parents did her no favors, in fairness.
Yeah.
I guess we should get like some of the cast of characters going here. So, like I said, we have our main guy. His name's Phoenix. We kind of we're at present day. He's in an asylum of some sort, and then we get a flashback to when he's a kid, and he looks like he's growing up in this the gringo circus, I think is what it's called, and this is set in Mexico, and he's like a magician. It seems like he has powers, or I don't know if that's just like smoke and mirrors.
That's just magic.
Or it's just okay. And then his father is a portly gentleman named Orgo,
Who's
just like
bedazzled all the fuck.
Hell yeah.
dude, yeah, like so many is that what those are? Sequins?
Yeah, he's a rhinestone cowboy. He's like heavy duty American. Like that's his character. Is that this is the token American? You can tell.
Yeah, and
Looks
he's
like
got that ridiculously purple like Mercury coupe. Like, God,
I didn't watch Tiger King,
eyesore.
but this guy looks like he would be Tiger King's dad.
Yeah, seriously.
That's a good call.
Yeah, it was. I didn't even think of that while I was watching it, but it's like,
Please,
that's
please,
perfect-
Joe Exotic's my dad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Joseph Exotic. I don't know. There's a joke in there that we can workshop later when we're not recording.
And then next we have Concha, who is Phoenix's mom, who's this part was real weird to me because she's in the circus and simultaneously she's like one of the main church leaders for this sect that follow Santa Sangre, and their patron saint is, I think it was Lillian or Lirio. I forgot to write it down, but a girl who was raped by her father and had both arms cut off. And so that's their patron saint, and they have like this pop-up church with a pool of blood, which I think is just paint later on, but that's his mom and dad that run this.
I thought the gal was raped by like villagers or something. I didn't think it was
that it?
It was a pair of brothers. She just said the blah 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 brothers. I think.
Okay. Yeah, I missed that
I
part.
think.
Yeah, then they cut her arms off.
Yeah. And then so they have like this paper mache plaster of Paris, like armless effigy. That's their patron saint. Yeah, I thought those two worlds were really weird. Like how she's also like this hair trapeze artist in the circus, and then we have a little person who kind of pals around with Phoenix. I can't remember his name.
Aladdin.
Fuck.
Aladdin fucking rules. I love that guy.
Aladdin's just there in the clutch every time.
Yeah. He's like the shoulder to cry on for Phoenix because he knows his like home life is fucked, and he comes in later too at a key point. And then we have the tattooed lady, who has a daughter named Alma that seems around the same age as Phoenix, and you can tell there's something there between Phoenix and Alma. She's painted in like this weird like porcelain doll like white face thing, and she's like a deaf mute is what I got, or just mute. One of them or both.
I think both.
Okay. And she's horribly mistreated by the tattooed lady. And so her and Phoenix have some kind of shared bond. They're sweet on each other. So that's kind of like our pack of strays in this circus setup and the focal point for the rest of the flick. Right. So it really starts out with like the tattooed lady she's got like designs on the dad Orgo, and he's just like, hook, line, and sinker. Like he's down. He wants to fuck this woman and throw knives at her.
And the first thing we learn about him is that he killed a woman in the United States, and that's why he has to hang out in Mexico.
I missed that part.
Did you? It's like just something they say, which is it's like one of 3 lines. So
damn,
I'm sure it's easy to gloss, but no, it's like I don't know. He's a real repulsive piece of shit.
Yeah, he is gross as fuck, and he has the hairiest like I don't even know, man, like the tightest curls I've seen on chest hair, and then he's got this huge ass flaming like eagle or phoenix chest tattoo. I don't know. I got from this like the beginning, like I thought he had like powers or something. Like there was something super, like he was able to like hypnotize people, or I don't know if that was just like everyone was like in on the gag, but it seemed like there was like some kind of between him and the mom, they had some kind of like influence. Or did you guys pick up on that at all?
Well, he hypnotizes the mom. I think when she first is like, "Hey, quit fucking around," he's like,
right, yeah. He like glamours her, so he's like, "Hey, I'm trying to get my fuck on."
It's like, look at the knife. You're hypnotized now.
And that comes back later when Phoenix is kind of following that same pathway with the other performer that in his circus. And I think I could be wrong, but my understanding was that his dad also owns that circus because it's called the Gringo Circus or whatever, and he's the token white dude in the building. So I don't know.
That's kind of what I was thinking, or I had assumed as well.
I just wanted to confirm if that was true or not, because if they said something about it, I didn't hear it. But he's kind of like, he does have power over people, sort of like in a cult leader sort of way, which is interesting because the mom has a cult.
Yeah,
right.
The Monsignor is not all about at all.
That part was pretty intense too. The Monsignor comes in and like tours their church, and he quickly realizes like fucking sacrilege happening, unfolding right before my eyes. Like,
yeah, he first gets there like, I'm not gonna let him tear it down, and then he talks to him and like, this is all bullshit. He's like, go ahead and tear it down. Go ahead. This is fine.
Yeah, I was like, I kept wondering, like, is this where the mom's gonna lose her arms? Like, are these two like dozers is she just gonna like sit there and bear it, and like they're just gonna like rip her arms off or something? It wasn't until later that this happens, but I kept like waiting for that because I knew that was like a major like theme of this, is that at some point this woman is losing her arms. So I kept like is this it right here? Like,
That's funny because I had forgotten that we had either talked about it off the air or on a different episode, and I looked it up real quick, this movie, and I got halfway through the description, and what I read was former circus artist escapes from mental hospital to rejoin his armless mother, and I just stopped reading because at that point,
you're like, I'm sold.
I'm in 1,000%. But then when I started watching it, I had completely forgotten about that part. So when she does lose her arms, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. And that part comes up pretty soon. But before that, it's like, it's a really weird set of circumstances where it's like, okay, so yeah, the dad, Orgo, like hypnotizes the mom. He's like, I'm trying to fuck this new tattooed lady. Cause he's just sprung off of her. And then the mom somehow breaks out of the being hypnotized again. And like, there's some weirdness there. And then at the same time, they have a sick elephant, which is like, I thought that part was super graphic, seeing like all the fucking blood come out of the trunk of this sick, like, it's like he's sick and it's like blood's coming out of its mouth and its trunk. And then flash to, the mom and dad fighting, which turns into them fucking like on the side of this, of the circus, and the son's watching and hearing like his mom writhe and scream. And then at the same time, the fucking elephant's like dying and it's screaming too at the same time. And he's just crying his eyes out. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? We've like immediately gone into like, what the fuck territory. And then, one of the weirder parts for me too was, so the elephant dies. And there's like a very somber, serious, like funeral procession, like downtown. And it just cuts. That was another thing that was kind of jarring to me, was like how quickly they go from like these wild set pieces to the procession for this beloved elephant. Everyone's in black. Orgo's in black and silver sequins, like fully decked out, like leading the procession on a horse. And I thought that was interesting, like how like serious, like the tone of it was very somber, and like I wasn't expecting that really. And then how they also have a like designated sled like dump off area, and then on the other side it looks like a faction of like some like favela or like shanty town of people covered in like white chalk that are waiting for the, I don't know, like an offering or something. And so there's this
like
huge ass fucking
colony or something.
yeah, something like some like, unwanteds, like castaways on the other side of town that are just separated by like a ravine. And they also too, did you guys notice how ornate and like the elephant casket it was in itself? I was like, dude, this is like, where are we going? And then they drop it off the cliff, and then it gets even weirder, and these people start swarming the casket, and then it's like a piece of a trunk rips off, and like, then it gets pretty wild, like hunks of this, they look like zombies, like a zombie horde busting into this elephant casket and ripping off wholesale like parts of an elephant and feeding on it. And then you have kind of a tender moment with the dad and the son saying like something like, oh, I'll make you a man, or like, it hurts, but
he's like, stop
we're gonna
crying.
get over this. Yeah. Stop being a little bitch.
I think that like that whole sequence of events involving the elephant and seeing his parents fucking, which mom didn't look like she was down with it really. To me, it looked like she was performing a function that she had to perform.
Right.
And immediately after that, he's begging this elephant not to die. The elephant dies. They dump it into a ravine, and a bunch of scavengers like pick it for meat. and then the dad's like, "Oh, you're a man now. You can't cry."
Okay, yeah, that's what he says.
And like that, well, I don't know if that's the exact line. I'm paraphrasing, but like by that time, we get to the point where the dad is giving him his own bird tattoo, eagle, phoenix tattoo, whatever, on his chest. It was pretty, to me, it was becoming pretty clear that whole thing was like, this whole movie is shaping up to be coming of age. Because that's the loss of innocence, right? The elephant's innocence. He saw his parents fucking, the elephant dies, and then he has to become a man and stop crying, and he's basically tortured and can't even, like, his innocence is picked apart by scavengers. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. That's a good metaphor for sure. Yeah, and the father's gonna console him by proceeding to slice a bird into his chest with a fucking like a Bowie knife or like one of the carnival throwing knife to give him this like the same huge ass bird, Thunderbird on his chest. Yeah, that was all. I was like, dude, what did I sign up for? So, and I can't remember, is it immediately following this where we get our first jump forward back to present day? Or is there something else that happens before this?
The hair.
Or then it's the church?
No. The church was gone at this point. That was like the first thing that happens almost. And then the mom is performing at the circus suddenly. And they're like, oh, she's also a performer. And that's when she catches Tattooed Lady. Phoenix gets locked into their trailer or whatever while the murder happens, basically.
Oh, yes. Okay.
The acid thrown on his dick.
Yeah.
So yeah, first of all, okay, so yeah, so this is later on. This is like the second time like Orgo's trying to get his fuck on with the Tattooed Lady, and he almost makes it, and then the mom stops her routine like midway, and fucking they go at it, and it culminates with the dad Orgo taking two of his knives off of his throwing circle of death knife throw, and fucking just comes right up underneath the armpits and fucking slices her arms off. And I wasn't expecting that to happen. It's like so quickly or like that based off like the tease from, I was like, okay, they're probably gonna do this right away. And then when they didn't, I was like, oh, maybe this is like an end of the movie kind of thing. So it kind of lulled me into a false sense of security. But yeah, that was pretty fucking shocking. And I don't know, I know there's an NC-17 version of this, and I would have to say that was the version I watched because that scene was incredibly fucking brutal. And I think I read in the rated R cut, they toned down the elephant deaths because there's two of them, and the blood effects were cut down because I think there's only like a 3 or 4 minute difference between NC-17 and the R version of this. But
did you watch on Tubi or?
I rented
what I
it.
watched.
I rented it on Amazon Prime because I fucking hate Tubi commercials when I'm trying to like.
I watched it on Tubi. Yeah.
I think that Tubi said NC-17, but I could be wrong. You think? Okay, cool.
Yeah, okay, you're right. And yeah, the elephant blood scene was pretty gnarly.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, even later when he has his own. Yeah. Well, later when he has his own like elephant blood thing.
Yeah, when he's like miming like the elephant and it's like pouring out. It gave me flashbacks to the fucking what is that? The Bud what's his face? Who killed himself?
Oh,
it's on
Bud
the
Dwyer?
CKY. Yeah, Bud Dwyer. That's what it reminded me of. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah. I felt worse about the elephant.
Yeah, no, same for sure.
Well, animals, you know. But yeah, the arms coming off is what got me more than anything. Like, I don't know, like that. The chickens pecking at it and shit, like, I don't know, man, it got me. I was like, I didn't see it coming, so maybe that was part of it. I was just shocked that, unlike the poetry of it, like, she, worships an armless saint, and here she is having her arms cut off in a jealous lover's quarrel. Like, maybe it was just all too much kind of all together, but it struck me pretty hard.
Yeah, it was almost like she was, like, trying to like manifest that maybe, or like she was like wanting to, like she bought into it so much that she wanted to be like the next saint of this or something maybe. But yeah, I thought it was like from a practical aspect
it was going to happen,
or something like that.
Well,
like it was her
in
destiny
the
or something.
In the subconscious of Phoenix later on, she certainly has powers. So I like, at least in his logic of how his brain interprets her later on as a figment, it involves some sort of supernatural power that she can exert over him, which ultimately is just him at the end of the day. But
yeah,
it's like, and he still hangs up like another paper mache armless saint, Santa Sangre, up on the wall, and so like there's a clear connection between those characters, and I think that her having her arms cut off is clearly indicating that she is a pious figure in his mental image, but she's also fucking the devil in his, like, she makes him kill a bunch of people. So I don't know. It's a very, like, that's what's so interesting is like there's like this really, like, the way that he internalizes his parents is so interesting because like his dad, but I looked this up because somebody pointed out that Concha, the name of his mother, is slang in Spanish for vagina.
Yeah.
And orgo is when translates to orgy, and Alma, the little girl, translates to soul. So there's like some very clear lines being delineated for him and how he views these characters and how we are supposed to view these characters. And it's clear that like his dad is like this like sexualized like fucking demon beast who like, because he's also male, he imparts that sinful need for the flesh on him, and the sin, like feeling that it's sinful, it comes from his mom, who is the pious figure, and is like, so like this weird contradiction that's happening. It's like the worst. It's like self-defeating, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like puberty, man. That's what puberty is. You're not supposed to feel these things, but here you are feeling them. How do you feel about that? You know, like, I don't know. I thought that was pretty fucking great, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely didn't think that far into it, but that's a good pull.
Yeah, I didn't think about that either. I was just looking at the dad committing suicide like, oh, cool.
Dude, that was a pretty good neck drag, I gotta say.
Yeah, I think
Pretty
that
effective.
was another difference in the NC-17 version, was that was more drawn out, him slitting his throat. Which, yeah, I gotta say too, like even going back to like what they did with the elephant and the practical effects there, but the practical effect of the mom losing the arms, I thought that looked pretty well done for, you know, late 80s. I mean, and like this type of movie, this movie doesn't feel like a late 80s movie. Like I felt like I was going back in time and watching something from like the late 70s or like the mid 70s. It had like that kind of sheen, that kind of feel to it. But yeah, I thought that was well done. And then then the Orgo, the dad, gets fucking acid thrown on his fucking schmack and part of his face, and like that was pretty brutal too.
And his wig falls off, which is the best part of it. Yeah. That wig was bumming me the fuck out the whole movie.
That weird ass platinum blonde, like, and like juxtaposed with his fucking like eyeliner and eyelashes too. He just looked like a hideous fucking old sack of shit.
He looked like a heel from like a second-rate regional wrestling group.
Dude, I was getting vibes from like Vince Neil, like present day. Like
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, then he gets burned up by the acid and quickly realizes, okay, I'm fucked. So yeah, he offs himself, which that practical effect was super brutal, and yeah.
Alma gets carted off right after, so he kind of loses it all at once.
Yeah.
Except for Aladdin, I guess. Kind of.
So then this is where we get the jump back, or the jump forward to, so now Phoenix is like, I don't know. We don't deal with times or dates or anything, but I'll just say 15, 20 years later, call it. And then he's in the asylum. He thinks he's a bird, maybe. And this part got really weird for me too. So like his breakout from the whole asylum, so he's in an asylum, and he's obviously there with other, you know, developmentally disabled individuals, and they organize a trip to the movies with a highly suspect handler, chaperone, who proceeds to offer them coke to liven up the the experience, the field trip. And so yeah, there's these like, you know, handicapped men and women and our guy Phoenix, and he's just kind of like going through the motions, like a shell of a person, just kind of meandering through. And what happens?
He sees the tattooed lady.
Oh yeah, that's right. And it triggers something.
They get taken to the red light district, where there's just like any number of different kinds of like orgies or sexual escapades happening, but it's dirty as fuck. And he sees the tattooed lady dancing with some guy.
My favorite cast member is Mary Aranza. She's just listed as fat prostitute.
Dude, yeah, I saw that in the credits. I was like, man, come on,
I think
have
we all
some
know
tact.
Exactly who that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy who gives him the coke is like, how much to bang all 5 of these guys with Down syndrome? And she says, what, $20? And he's like, all right, 15 for me, 5 for you. Like, this is the worst deal of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, pimping is easy.
Apparently.
On the wallet, anyway.
Man, he was pretty sharply dressed, too, I must say.
It was a little unclear to me, I guess, like, at first, it was only on later reflection that I thought maybe they were, like, led there intentionally by the staff of this group to go get laid, and hopefully that would help in therapy, I guess, or something. Like, I don't know if that was supposed to be, like, an off-the-books sort of intentional, like, therapy thing for them, because they come back and they're all, like, psyched that they got laid. But, like, at the same, like, I was actually really interested with, like, how they depicted the I don't know what you would call it, not an asylum exactly, because I took this movie to take place somewhere in, like, the 70s or 80s, and, like, in that time in America, it was like fucking dungeons for these people, and this looked pretty nice. I was surprised how nicely it was depicted. But then, like, whether or not that chaperone they knew that he was going to do that or not, was where I was like, I'm not sure. And I don't know that it really matters, but it's a lingering question for me.
Yeah. I would have to fall on the side of, I don't think they were in cahoots on all of that, but I could be wrong. But
I mean, it's a risky wager to be like, hey, give these guys a bunch of coke and try to get them laid and see. Because imagine, what if they just went ape shit and just started like ripping people in half, or
just what if they come back with like their own dick falling off from whatever diseases you get in the red light district in Mexico?
Yeah.
Like,
seriously.
I don't know, but like, it'd be a risky move. Like, and they didn't really depict that the doctors or anything as incompetent, other than that one scene where the guy like gives them coke or whatever, while the other chaperone and the nurse are making out in the car. That's the like only bit that you see where they're like don't seem like they're attentive caregivers.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was very interesting to me, very weird.
It was weird because that main doctor's like, all right, you guys have fun. I'm going to go hang out with grandma or whatever. I'm like,
and then the chaperone seems like a guy out of Scarface or something. Like he's got like
I'm pretty sure that's like
a fedora. Like he doesn't seem like the kind of person that they would approach to be the chaperone at all.
Yeah. I do think that is the pimp that is another Jodorowsky too.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He even looks kind of like him. So.
Yeah, now I can see the familiar resemblance for sure. Damn. Yeah, it had to be maybe like his older son or like a brother or a cousin or something. But
he's in the family.
So at this point, there's like a scuffle, and there's a couple different things that happen, and then there's like an opening for our main guy Phoenix to get away. And I'm kind of drawing a blank at this point too, because I had to split this one up in 2 viewings too. But don't we do kind of like a hard cut to
we kind of hard
reinventing himself into Orgo?
No.
What happens right after he gets away?
Well, okay, so what happens is like at the red light district, he sees the tattooed woman, and then they hard cut to him in the quote unquote asylum. I'm just going to call it that because I don't know what else to call it. The hospital, say. And he's like suddenly like performing like he would as a kid, like doing backflips and all these sorts of things. And then he hears his mother's voice outside the window, and he climbs his perch to allow himself out of there, and she's just out there armless. And at that point I'm like, oh shit, she lived. And I bought it like as the truth at the moment, but and then he follows her out, and then there's a real hard cut to him having some sort of performance company in a theater where he's performing as his mother's arms in this like weird tableau thing, talking about the wind and stuff. It was very, very art kid bullshit. That's one of those parts where I was like, whoa, what the fuck? He just escaped from a hospital. How the fuck did he arrange all of this? He somehow stumbles upon Aladdin. His mother is there, and all of a sudden they just have access to do these performances. Like, I don't know. I was very confused by that.
Yeah, and the weird like whose line is it anyway thing where I'm gonna be your arms. It's like, who the fuck is paying money for this? But I'll suspend my disbelief for the time being, and good call allowing somebody who should be kept in their room a perch that goes perfectly up to their window.
Right. and
made
thinks that
for
they're
escape.
a bird. Like, what if they just think that and they try to fucking nosedive and
He flew away.
you're dying?
Did he request that perch specifically?
Yeah.
Because if not, they just decided that was a good idea.
Or yeah, they read into like, oh, he thinks he's a bird, so we should get him a perch.
Yeah. Should line the floors with newspaper. Why not?
God, I don't know. Are you guys bird people? Did you ever grow up with like a cockatoo in the house? And like, I always knew
We had a
people.
parakeet.
I knew some people that were like bird people, and I was just like, and you see their bird cage, and you got to clean it out and like the shit. And it's like I don't want to come down on people that have cats too, but it's like when you have a cat,
Easy.
or if you don't have a cat and you go somewhere that has a cat, and you can smell the litter box, you know, it's like it becomes part of the fabric of the bird version of that is like, I can't, man. Anyway,
I just don't know what you get out. My sister had a bird for a while. Like, it died pretty quick, so I guess we didn't take good care of it. But when I was a kid, we had this bird, and it was like, I don't know what. Even at that age, I was like, "What are you getting out of this, sis? Like, what is that? You can't cuddle that thing."
Yeah, you can't pet it. You can't like.
No offense to like, and I guess I can see the appeal. Like, it's like, oh, it's just interesting to have another creature in the house or whatever. But between the smell and like not being able to cuddle it, man, sign me up for something else.
Yeah.
Well, and some of them are noisy as shit too. My grandma got into birds late in life for no reason. I have no idea why, and they were loud as shit.
Yeah. I mean, some of the ones you see like the really like highly trained ones that can like mimic and like they can say funny shit. Like I can see the concept with that.
Yeah,
like
if you have a hard time talking to people, it might be a conversation starter. It's like the snake guy at every NASCAR event.
Oh, dude. I was just thinking, no matter how weird bird people are, snake people.
Yeah.
Snake people are on another level. And actually, Phoenix is a bit of a snake person. At least his dick is.
Dude, that skipping forward to that part, that's my favorite part of the movie for like how dry they play it. Like he's like freaking out and the snake's like unfurling, and then when it goes away and he snaps out of it and like the apothecary lady turns, she's like, "Phoenix, are you okay?" He's like, "Yes, I was just hallucinating." Like how like straight he dude, that part fucking it sent me. But I was like, at first I was like, is this a euphemism or is this like a metaphor for his dong? And he's seeing this procession and he's like, whoa, fuck. Like,
well, he sees some, like, that's when he first finds out about the strongest woman alive or whatever, the pro wrestler. So I think he's just like, oh shit, somebody that can help me contain my, that can prevent my mom, quote unquote, from killing whatever woman comes home.
Right.
And so like it's he needs another strong woman to domineer over him in order to break his mom's spell, which is not a healthy way of handling that situation, buddy. But
no. But I mean,
so yeah, that's when the
that's what your goal was. I mean, he aimed high.
But like it's clear that he's sexually aroused by that idea because of the snake hallucination. But I also loved that he was just like, oh, sorry, it's just hallucinating. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine. I gotta go.
Yeah,
just drinking really a bunch of random chemicals to try to become the invisible man. Like, Jesus, guy.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was a fun callback, and that's like showing like the depths of his like, you know, just like desperation to like rid himself of this shit. You know, like it's like
he would have been a big MCR kid.
Yeah,
big time. Or The Cure or some shit. Yeah, he missed the boat on popular music because he could have been right in there getting his Flock of Seagulls haircut or some shit.
Yeah, totally. So I guess slightly backtracking. So he actually comes across like someone his own age that like he I think maybe he sees something from when he was younger, like from Alma, and there's like another potential love interest, or it's just another woman who's automatically targeted as a threat by mom, quote unquote, and like they're getting pretty hot and heavy, and then the mom like comes into play and was like, kill her, like fucking take her out. And so like his dad like throwing the knives on like you picture that circus, like the woman, you know, doing the Leonardo da Vinci on this wooden bullseye, and he's throwing the knives, and then he fucking just sinks one right into her gut. I thought that was fucked up.
That was
like,
fucked up.
dude.
But actually, we also did skip the first kill, which is the tattooed lady, which is kind of actually going back to your Giallo observation. A very Giallo kill.
Yeah, that was anytime she came into the picture that I got those kinds of vibes. Like I don't know if like that was like the he wanted to insert that as like this character represents that, but I definitely picked up on that the most when she was like front and center. But yeah, good call. That was like him and his mom both getting, vengeance.
But it's like point of view or like just the hands or something like that. So you don't know who's doing it at that time. You just kind of have to deduce later when mom is pulling Norma Bates' situation with the next girl.
Yeah, and I guess for Steve's edification too, like I know I've thrown around the word giallo a couple times, but it's just like a subgenre of Italian horror film, and one of the main hallmarks of that is like a POV as the killer, and you usually see it's like a black gloved hand or just a set of hands and a knife, and then it's like jaws like donna and you get right up to the victim and they slash them, and like that's kind of like the main hallmark of those kinds of films. So yeah, that one was definitely, this was a vehicle for that kind of slip that subgenre or trope in there. But
yeah, and so then he does like sink that knife into the other performer's belly and then goes to bury her, which is an interesting scene. Like he buries her in like the woods or whatever, and then before doing so he paints her white, like all white, which I gotta think has something to do with the mime girl that he has affection for, but I don't know what it is exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a purifying thing, or I don't know. But what happens before he can start like actually finishing the burial is she turns into a goose and flies away. So
yeah. that was where I was teetering a little bit on like, okay, what is the like? This is going a little bit too far into the symbology. I could see the look on your face that you're getting ready to play it.
I respect the bump game. Nice.
You read me like a dime store paperback.
Cheap paperback. Yeah, and Alma's character, I don't know, maybe it was just the mood that I was in. I don't like kids, like, at all. But even from the beginning, I felt like really protected. Like I felt really bad for her as a kid, so I felt really like this weird protective thing. Like I was getting really pissed off at her, not mom, the tattooed lady, whatever. And then before the tattooed lady gets killed, she pimps her daughter out for the big weird Bond villain guy. And I could just feel myself like I would fucking kill this guy slowly, you know. Yeah. So
dude, good call. I felt a good connection, like Jaws.
Yeah. So I thought they did a good job, sort of developing the Alma character, because I was in, and I mean the whole rest of the movie I was like, please tell me she comes back and everything's okay, because I don't know. Right. For some reason I cared a lot about her.
One. Yeah, she's really. I was 95% of the way through the movie the same way, but there was this moment where, like, kind of towards the end, where I was like, "So wait, is the moral of this story? Is there some like weird like chauvinism thing going on here, where the ideal woman is a deaf mute who just comes along to save you when you're feeling bad?" I don't know about that guy, but I think there's probably some stronger symbolism going on beyond that. And I think she's like so like likable, and you root for her and for him. Like they're the only characters to root for in this whole fucking movie, pretty much. Maybe Aladdin. You also root for Aladdin.
We do like Aladdin. I thought the cheap joke would be like,
he just wasn't in enough.
She's the perfect girl because she's silent, but really I think she's the only thing that could draw him out of his weird fucking internal mommy clusterfuck. But
well, soul, if she is the soul that he was disconnected from because of the trauma of growing up under those crazy circumstances, then I can understand like I can understand this symbolism of having your soul be sort of like the quiet part that's easy to overlook, that you know you have to like reconnect yourself to in order to feel like a whole person again and have all those things escape from your head, all that trauma go away. I can understand that as a methodology for telling this story. But regardless, she's just like, you want the best for the two of them so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they both came from shitty backgrounds. And I mean, even at the beginning too, like there's a scene that really sets that up when the tattooed lady who is Alma's mom is like trying to get her to cross this burning rope, and she's being really shitty to her. Is it just like her guardian?
Yeah, that's right, because she found her in the poorhouse or something.
Okay.
Like, I regret ever rescuing you or something.
Yeah, okay. Alma's mom died, and she sort of just becomes acquisitioned by the tattooed lady as her little...
Well, it's even worse then.
Yeah.
So she's that to her, just like a piece of property, and she's getting treated like shit, and then later on becoming pimped out, whored out to the highest bidder. But it was especially cruel when she's like she throws him back there and was like she can't scream or hear anything, so do your worst or whatever. I was like, oh, fuck you,
That's
man.
Fucking hellish.
Yeah.
Quick side piece of trivia. I guess the gal who played older Alma is actually deaf in real life, and she's only been in like 2 films, one in 1989 and one in 2017. So, usually you don't get that kind of representation with outside of like a few examples, like young Walt in Breaking Bad, and
young Walt.
Isn't he Walter Jr.?
He is.
Yeah.
I just like
I don't know why I said young
Walter
Walt.
the Younger.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool that they hired someone who is actually deaf for the part. So that was cool to get that representation. But help me where we're at in the story. We're getting kind of to the third act here aren't we?
So they're performing or whatever, and like he goes to that strong woman, right?
Yes.
He goes to see her perform, and I don't know if she's a trans person or if it's just a large guy in drag, but whatever the situation is, this is a very, very large person, and he's like, he invites her back, and he's like very meek about it. It's kind of adorable. She's like, oh, can I push you around or something like that? And he's like, if you want.
Yeah.
And he's like, I have a theater in my house. And so he takes her to his weird house theater where there's Aladdin there and doesn't get questioned at all. He's like, who's this guy? No, doesn't matter. And so he starts to perform for her. And that's when the mummy, the actual desiccated corpse that he has in this tomb, this mummy's whatever sarcophagus, he opens it up, he shows it, and I'm going to turn it into birds. And then he opens it, and oh no, it's armless mom, who he's been doing all kinds of like ridiculous shit as not part of a performance, but just at home, like doing like knitting and shit for her as her arms. So
this is where the psycho overtones kind of, you get reminded of that, or at least I did for sure here. But that is a good call, like how beefcake this dude is, and how like meek he's playing it. Like when when Phoenix like gets her to come back to his place, I thought that was kind of a funny juxtaposition, because just before you see him beating wholesale ass, and then it's like, hey, you want to come over? And I thought too, like his theater in his home, it reminded me of like some Tim Burton shit, like in Beetlejuice, like those weird angles of that, and everything was like all black. That theater room was super, like the art direction of that looked like super cool, how like they set that up. I was curious. It made you think, like looking from the outside, like the dimensions don't fit, like what's inside, like a Harry Potter, like the tent, and you go into it and it's a fucking massive ass like mansion. I was like, that
like German expressionist angles and shit a little bit. Not a ton, but a little bit. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that like what he was asking of that woman was that she break his arms, because that like this whole like. As much birds and arms are like everything in this fucking movie. Yeah. And like his armless mom, he's his mom's arms. So if his arms are broken, then he can't kill, I guess is the logic. Yeah. Right. But he's then having his arms broken by this other woman he's going to be domineered by. So I don't know. There's some weird shit going on. And I guess it just needed to be pointed out, because there's even like the cult symbol or two arms
the X
crossing in a weird way.
The diamond shit.
Looking, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I didn't pick up on that until like later on. They zoom in closer to the mom when she's like going like this. I was like, oh fuck, that's a cool design with the two arms making that like diamond like double X symbol,
the owl ring symbol or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from there, I think the next thing that happens is Alma, I think. Oh no, he goes back to bury the bodybuilder or whatever, and holy shit, he has a body count, this man.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's like 45 different people he's hallucinating, them women coming out of the ground, they're all painted all white. They're like, "Why did you kill me?" And he's like, "I feel bad." And he's like collapsing on himself. And then,
that's another part with like the time. There's no like I felt like all of this could have happened, like this third act could have happened in like a 2-week period or a year and a half or 2 years. Like, how long has he been at this? You know, like being possessed by his mom and the arms and everything. Like,
I could make the argument
years
that it's like a day, because when the cops eventually find him, I mean, it's not like they wouldn't know where he is, right? Because wherever he was, you would think that they would have caught him pretty fast. Or is that just me?
I don't know. They don't have a body, so I kind of like. I don't know exactly how he gets caught. I guess off the top, there's got to be something in there that he fucked up on.
Because
I don't know.
The apothecary lady, she got away.
Oh yeah, maybe it was her, because she walks in like at a really inopportune time, and she's freaking the fuck out. So maybe that would she probably.
I think from the snake dick on is one day, and that like maybe even a little bit before, but because Alma is also escaped at this point, she wakes up that morning and goes off and sees his the advertisements for his show and identifies him, and then goes looking for him. And then she ultimately finds him like right after he comes back from from burying the bodybuilder, and his mom is tormenting him or whatever or something. And he's feeling tormented. He's covered in blood, and she comes in painted in white, and she's just like, "Hey, don't worry about that. I'm here now." And she's pretty chill with him being covered in blood and shit.
And then it is the reveal, like it just. I don't think it's any one thing. It's just he all of a sudden comes to the realization, and it does like a mini flashback in his head, kind of. Mm-hmm. And when Alma's like holding his hands and starts like plucking away these redonkulously long red nails to signify that the mom is in control, or the mom is using the arms, but that it was him the whole time. And this is the twist, if there is to be one in this film, is like, oh shit, he wasn't, because I bought it completely hook, line, and sinker that like, his mom was still alive, and he was, there's some weird supernatural maybe that like she's able to control him, or he's just under some kind of spell that could be explained away, but that, he was the avatar for her to like take out her aggression or her, whatever reason she has to want to continue to kill people,
punishing
to protect him, or
women who lust.
Well,
that's
like,
the big thing.
She's the pious,
right?
She's the religious side of things that shames anything to do with sexuality to the point of melting dicks off.
Sure.
Right.
And I'm still making more connections with this movie. Like, even what's interesting about him doing the magic performance where he's like, I'm going to turn this into doves or whatever, and then it's his mom, and then she takes over his arms. It's like the birds obviously represent a level of freedom to some extent, but like he is not able to perform as himself. He is only able to perform as his mother. He used to be a child magician. That's what he did. He pulled out these like whenever he did sleight of hand with Alma when he met her, but he hasn't
like
done any of that.
Or something. Yeah.
And so like, I don't know. I think there's obviously something to that where it's like, he tries to perform as himself, and mom still like gets the better of him at that point. So at that point, and then Alma's like sort of leading him back, and she tries to get him to kill. The mom tries to get him. Concha tries to get him to kill Alma, and he manages to fight her off. Is really all that happens. And
their bond or their connection was too much. That like that was the final thing he needed to be able to overcome the spell of his mother, or the ghost of his mother.
That, and seeing her ventriloquist dummy in her bed, which is also covered in birds for some reason. And that's after he has this flashback and all of a sudden they're just clowns. The clowns are like they're like saviors in this movie. Fucking saint clowns. I don't know what's going on with them, but they came in.
Did he see the dummy in her bed because I thought once he stabbed the mom and she kind of like stumbled away and then disappeared, I thought that was the moment where it sort of took the blinders off. Because
maybe that was. I'm
well,
probably.
No, you're right.
Well, because there was a moment earlier where somebody looked in the bed, but maybe they didn't show what it was. But then after he stabbed, I thought somebody looked in the bed. Maybe not.
Possibly, and maybe Alma did or something when she was. I don't know. But
I
maybe
can't remember
Aladdin
that now. But then after she disappeared, then the clowns that came to help. He looks in the bed, sees the doll, kind of puts it all together, and then sets the effigy on fire or whatever, and then the clowns disappear, and then Aladdin, poor Aladdin, I thought he was real the whole time, but...
I wanted him to be, but also I kind of didn't, because I was like, this guy has no agency of his own. He's just whatever lackey he needs him to be in the moment.
Right. Because he helped him kill at least one of those gals, and I was like, come on, Aladdin, you're better than this. What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, what are you aiding and abetting a mass murderer right now, Aladdin? You can do better.
Yeah.
But he was imaginary as well, so that was kind of a relief, honestly.
Yeah.
Aladdin's off the hook. Thank God.
And then we get the ultimate clincher, which is, he got the control of his hands back, but guess what those hands are guilty of?
Right.
All these, and then he gets ultimate justice for... I read somewhere, like, I was trying to contextualize this movie really quickly. Like, for myself, I was like, okay, what can I learn about this in a day before this podcast records?
Same.
And one thing that I read was that Jodorowsky, one of the main ideas of this was to try and create a serial killer that you feel more empathy for than any of its victims. And I think that is successful here. Like, because at the end, like, you feel empathy for those victims for sure, but like, you have to actively remind yourself that he's even a killer through most of this movie. and you actually actively don't know to a certain point.
Yeah, it was a complete carpet pull for me at the end. Like, I bought totally the story that the mom had her designs and was just, channeling it through him. And he was just, he didn't have any say in the matter. So, I totally bought that. And with his intent, stated, I agree too. Like, I didn't feel like, fuck this guy. Like, he was traumatized. He didn't have a choice, like from a super young age, so, he was just kind of almost like a bystander in all of these things. And he was just like trying to navigate his way through them. But yeah, at the end too, I like how he didn't give up a fight either. He's like, oh yes, finally I'm free. I'm stripped of that. And then there's like fucking 50 cops and they're all pointing the guns and he just puts his hands up, like, he's like, yeah,
My hands.
I'll wear this. Yeah. Cause like he's got a choice, and like, I'm going to do the right thing now. So yeah, I liked how it ended. I liked the rug pull. I liked, and this is back when it comes into a linear fashion. It grounds you and like, okay, this is the reality. And it doesn't like continue on with like weird time jumps and like abstract nature of like the first hour plus of the film. So yeah, this part definitely kind of brought it home for me, which it sounds like that was a common thread between all of us.
I just think like it became somewhat easier to understand, and I liked what it had to say. I personally, I can totally get down with like an ambiguous and strange ending in the right context, but I was happy because not every movie gives you what you want, and what I wanted was for Alma and Phoenix to end up together and be okay with but I also wanted him to face some sort of justice for being a killer, because like towards the end I'm like, this guy's a mass murderer. Like like that Aladdin made me realize that. I was like, Aladdin, what are you doing? Wait a minute, what are you doing? Like, I expect this from him, but not you. And then, like, it becomes this whole thing where I'm like, well, he's got to see some sort of justice, or else this is basically Richard Ramirez coming into his own movie. Like, that's
just getting into the blood game.
Or Norman Bates. Like, nobody thinks of Norman Bates as all that sympathetic, but he is a little bit.
That's a good point. That's a good point, because they are very similar, him and Norman Bates, but you don't feel the same way about Norman Bates and Psycho. At least I don't. But like, you don't have that level of like sympathy. But I guess to be fair, though, you also don't see what Norman Bates went through as a kid also. So
it kind of is like, this movie is almost like, I feel like this is a double feature where it's like from both sides of the coin. You know what I mean?
So
Yeah,
this all tracks back to, this is why you should not give people who live in an insane asylum cocaine, because it just fuels this whole thing.
Yeah.
Said it once, I'll say it again.
Man, you're just full of hot takes today, I guess.
And I wonder if
You don't want to give illegal drugs to people who can't take care of themselves? Why not?
Just
What are
eating
you,
raw
prude?
fish. Yeah, this guy just ate a raw fish. Give him cocaine. What's the worst that could happen?
Let's see what that does.
Yeah.
I wonder if they just took him back to the asylum. Like, here you go. We got a live one. You lost him.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens if we put him in a hamster ball.
Maybe
We
Give him
brought
some
back your-
ayahuasca.
We brought back your perch.
maybe close his window next time,
Yeah.
huh?
Put bars on it.
It's interesting that like that room that he's in with the perch or whatever, like it looks remarkably similar to where he ultimately is living at the end of the movie, which is also like this really tall and seemingly an exterior that is somehow enclosed. It's like he's squatting in like
Like
I
a
don't know, and
castle
like a
spire.
yeah, it's very fucking weird. But that room also looks like that. I feel like maybe it was like a limitation on locations to film or something, but maybe there's some reason that they did it that way. I don't know.
All right. Well, yeah, I guess that's Santa Sangre in a nutshell.
I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoyed the music and the score of the entire movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun.
I didn't key in on it until maybe the midpoint, and I can't remember now because I'm fucking half cocked on Red Stag. Shout out, pay
Hell
me.
yeah.
But there was one specific like sound drop or music drop that I really dug. It kind of like it fed into like my current like the Twin Dragons of synth sax kind of, and it also like echoed like Goblin, like the Giallo, some vibes in a couple tracks. But yeah, I dug that too in this film, and it jives with other type of Giallo films. Like they have some, I think if there's anything that would be of interest to you, if we keep this going and we get into maybe some more popular Giallo like Suspiria, there are some fucking wicked film scores that if you like this kind of shit, it's right up your alley.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Goblin, Steve?
No.
Check them out. They got some cool shit. If you like the soundtrack in
Is
this.
that a person, a movie, a
Band.
Oh no, it's a musical act.
Okay.
Goblin.
Yep.
I think you'll dig it. But yeah, the score was bitchin' too, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they made this movie, so 88, 89, it was $787,000, which is, I've seen some pretty big budgets in this same time period, and I think they did a lot. They got quite a bang for their buck, for sure.
For sure.
I have a couple of things since we've kind of wrapped this up on the director Jodorowsky's background. One of which calling back to like that Dune documentary that I watched, and I thought this is kind of wild, like what he in a nutshell what he wanted to do with Dune. So I guess in 1971, this guy directed a movie called El Topo. That was like, it was like not a one-hit wonder. He came right out of the gate swinging, and it became like an instant cult classic. I've never seen it. And then he followed that up 2 years later with The Holy Mountain in 1973, which is also like instant cult classic. And it's like, I've heard chatter on it in the background, and I definitely, after watching this, I want to definitely start to round out some of his catalog. But so then in 75, this guy's kind of a character, but he's also like this cavalier. Like, he was born in Chile, so he's Hispanic, but he speaks French like almost exclusively. Like every interview that I saw him in, and another documentary, he speaks in French, because I think when he was like in his 20s, he moved to France and he kind of honed his craft there for a lot of years. And then he's done stuff in Mexico, like exclusively. Like I think he did El Topo in Mexico as well. And he did this film all on location in Mexico. So he's definitely like a Renaissance kind of, like he speaks multiple languages. He's kind of like an oddball dude with some weird sensibilities. But so Dune came across his desk, and he wanted it to star Orson Welles and the painter Salvador Dali, and he wanted it to be scored by Pink Floyd, and he was also going to bring together H.R. Giger, Dan O'Bannon, and Jean Mobius Giraud, who was a big influence in for Ridley Scott and like Blade Runner, like that dystopian kind of cyberpunk aesthetic. So like
rogues
that fucking
Damn.
stew just sounds wild as shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of
I'm
cocaine
so
fueled, Jesus, that's what that sounds like.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you could stop at cocaine. I think you got to go even. You got to like have a rotating door of different hallucinogens.
That's like their baseline is cocaine.
Yeah, that's
coffee
just
in the morning.
that's coffee. Yeah, that's coffee in the morning. Exactly.
But I thought it was interesting that off of the implosion of like his, I guess with Dune, he started having even more wild ideas, and it just became over bloated. And like they were like, the budget you'll need to make this will never happen. There was a lot of other controversy tied with it, so he never ended up doing Dune. But out of the ashes of this, H.R. Giger and Dan O'Bannon connected on, and they went on to make Alien, or work together on Alien in 79. So this is all in like a 4 to 5 year period from like 75 to 79. He was trying to get Dune made with his specific vision, which sounds batshit crazy. A couple quotes from this guy, personal quotes from Jodorowsky that I thought were pretty interesting too. And kind of like his cocksure, kind of like ballsy kind of persona. He said, most directors make films with their eyes. I make films with my balls. I ask of a film what most North Americans ask of psychedelic drugs. I don't live in France. I live in myself.
Oh my God. I hate this guy.
This one, I don't think you're gonna like,
and hate him simultaneously. It's the greatest dichotomy of my life.
I guess it just depends on if you met him, like how seriously he takes himself. If he knows like he's kind of like a blowhard, that's part of his
he's playing
thing.
the game.
Yeah, then that's fine. But if he's so up,
if he's really
ass,
if he's really up his own ass like this, then fuck you. But
honestly, if you can't tell, it's no different. So like. Who knows if Warhol's that self-aware? I think so, but maybe not.
You can never tell what's going through someone's viewfinder, but
I love like when people like have that sort of like fucking batshit way of thinking, because sometimes can be kind of illuminating, and when it's not, it's like you're out of your fucking mind. I love it.
It's entertaining either way, that's for sure.
Yeah.
This other one that it might make it or break it for you. Then Steve, he said it like. Commenting on his first film, which shot him to, stardom and all these other opportunities. He said, if you are great, El Topo, his first movie, is a great picture. If you are limited, El Topo is limited.
That's some Heaven's Gate horse shit. Oh my God. That's not a thing. You can't. Well, if you're cool, you'll like my movies. But if not, you can blow it.
Yeah. Ultimate fucking trump card. Get out of jail free. Dude, that's like my wife, dude. Anytime she wants to say something hurtful, she can. And she's like, oh, I'm just joking. Fuck you. One last one from him, because I don't know if this is like him and his flights of fancy and buying into his own bullshit and up his own ass, or if there's some truth behind this, but it sounds wild. He says, in the world, what you do has a value, but what you don't do also has value. For me, Dune was a dream, a big dream. It's a dream that I intended to do, which is good. When we didn't make the picture, Dan O'Bannon needed to be intern in a mental institution for 2 years because he didn't get to do it. But when he came out, he wrote the script for Alien. Who would believe that? But it's true.
Is it true?
I don't know, but that's one of those things. Like, is that him just buying into his own shit and just like shooting his mouth off? But if true, that's wild too.
I'm reminded of the Key and Peele sketch where they have Outcast reunion at a coffee shop. Have you seen this? Where
I don't think I've seen that skit.
Big Boy's just like getting a coffee, and then like Andre 3000 like skips in dressed as Peter fucking Pan. He's like, "Oh Jesus Christ!" Like that's how I see this man, is the Peter Pan Key and Peele version of Andre 3000. Just like, oh my god, I knew you were going to say some dumb bullshit like that.
Yeah.
That show is underrated. That is a very funny show.
It is a great show.
Yes, it is. It's crazy. Like, I feel like people that weren't there at the time, and now both of their popularity and their stars kind of risen. People going back to it and seeing how, like, you know, forward thinking and like just like nailing it they were.
Yeah.
Like some of my favorite one, you know, there's like I was like, bitch, you know, all that stuff, and the Bruce Willis, that's my shit, and like the hotel concierges. But there's a lot of other ones that like skits in there that are fucking really good.
I know they've gotten it. They've gotten in a little bit of trouble lately because they did one about a slave auction. It was so
dude,
funny,
that one was hilarious. The one where I think it was Key, and he's like, was it him or Peel? And they're at like a what is it? They're like at a Confederate like reenactment, and they're playing slaves.
That's different. What you're talking about is something different.
Where he's like, "Don't put the whip on us, massa."
Yeah, that's also hilarious. But this was an episode where they were getting outbid by like super scrawny or fat guys, and they're like, "Come on, I know we're worth more than that guy."
Oh yeah.
It's an auction block gag. I remember that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite Key and Peele sketch of all time is the insult comic one. If you've seen that one. So Key,
I'm sure I have, but I can't think of it.
It's so funny. If you look up Key and Peele insult comic, the premise is Key is a guy who's on stage who's just roasting audience members, and then he sees a guy in the crowd, Peele, who's a burn victim, and he passes over him because he doesn't want to kick a guy who's down. But Peele has like one of those voice modulator things, and he's like,
"Oh yeah,
do me." And yeah, if you haven't seen it, look it up. It's so fucking funny. I've probably watched it 100,000 times.
That one's great. I love any of the horror-centric ones for obvious reasons. So
yeah.
That's
another one I saw that was really good was like where he played Peele played the bully. He's like, I'm gonna go home and take all this pain that I've internalized from my father beating me out on my dog. Yeah, give me that. You know, like he's like really he's like psychoanalyzing himself while he's bullying somebody. That shit was fucking hilarious. Like really like ahead of its time.
Show.
If either of you guys are Bo Burnham fans, he's in the acapella group.
I think Randy is for sure.
That one is so funny.
I wasn't when I've become one, but I don't think I was when I watched that show actively, so I'll have to check that out.
I think it was just like one little sketch he was in where there's an acapella group. But yeah, so
yeah, he's good.
Nice way to end the Santa Sangre episode.
Yeah.
A long talk about our favorite Key and Peele sketch.
Yeah. How do we get from here to this stepping stone? I know we've kind of broke format the last few episodes. We haven't had any colloquialisms, but sometimes we do a colloquial corner because I'm a big fan of like phrases and idioms. I didn't ask you for one ahead of time, but is there anything that's really tickling your fancy or something that's grating on you that you're hearing the kids say these days, or any kind of like your favorite one-liner? Or Steve, do you have anything recently that you've become aware of?
I was bitching to you about something last time before we started recording. Do you remember what it was?
No.
It was some phrase that I had heard that was chapping my dick, and you're like, "Oh, you should save it for the colloquial corner." But
damn it,
I don't.
Well,
remember
damn, I wish you could remember because I can't think of one. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'm in a corporate job, so a lot of what I hear is like just corporate speak bullshit,
right?
More than it is kids bullshit because I don't hang around with kids and I'm perennially old. So I think that like I can't think of one off the top of my head though. Even that's just like, oh, there was one today that was like, what does this mean exactly? Where did we get this? I can't think of it now. I'll if I think of it before you sign off, then I'll yell it really loudly.
Yeah, the corporate ones are fun. Like instead of coworkers, or it's like, please make sure to inform all stakeholders, or just
stakeholders
is like that.
One in the past few years.
Fuck.
I hate the word ideate more than I just about anything. Like that's not a word, man. Even if it's a word, it's not a word. Not the way you're using it. You're using it badly.
Dude.
I don't know, man.
I just thought of one too along those lines. Mind share. That one, for some reason, fucking chaps my ass, too.
I don't think I've heard that one for legitimately used, just mocked.
Yeah. What was I don't know the context, but it was like, yeah, we'll get together and, maybe through the process, we get into the mind share. Something will come out of this. Like, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Fucking corporate speak. It's just as bad as teenage speak, or it's just as frivolous and like performative and pointless. It's just for money this time. So I guess it's better. I don't think so, but
this actually made me just think of one of my favorite George Carlin bits. I know he's a controversial character, but and I mean, there's something to be said for some euphemisms because we've come a long way. But he has one bit about euphemisms that's really fucking good. And I can't recite it because he's such like a wordsmith, but he talks about, and I think this is like in the 80s, so it's even more prescient now when you go back and listen to him because it's like, it's where we are. It's almost getting on some levels in some areas. It's getting to the point where we're going to it's going to boomerang around to like base level jargon. But if you're interested, if you're a fan of George Carlin, I implore you to like, if you just type in like George Carlin on euphemisms, he's got a really good, like blistering 5-minute fucking stream of consciousness. Like that's one thing after doing the podcast for a little bit, like having a greater respect for people that can carry on a conversation and like have like I'm a much better writer when I have time to sit and think about things. I sound like I'm more well-spoken than I am because in the moment, like I have moments where like, I know my vocabulary is better than this, but I say, oh, damn. And it's like, fuck. Like when you're having shower thoughts later of like when you could have burned someone really bad and then you think about it and you're like, fuck, I could have nailed him with that.
Yeah, man. Then you just have to have the fantasy of it, and oh man,
yeah.
There's no sadder fantasy than a burns I should have made fantasy. Like
wall shampoo.
If that's getting your jollies off, you like, man, just go jerk off or something because you need something else.
Well, you already are at that point. That's
essentially you are, but do it the way the Lord intended, please.
Well, and also fantasizing about how hard it would have landed, like. Oh man, I would have delivered this line, and they would have had nothing to say.
Killed in Poughkeepsie.
Everyone would have clapped.
Yeah.
I got one thing for you, Steve, real quick. Right before this, I was watching an episode of Friends, but before I put the kids down, and it was Monica wanted to watch Entertainment Tonight, and Ross is like, "Tough noogies, we're watching Predators of the Serengeti." Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah.
Dude. Oh man, that one got me.
Tough noogies.
Tough noogies.
Man, the Schwimmerism of it all.
Steve and I are pretty big fans of the old Friends.
Hey,
him by choice.
We all have our proxy. So
yeah,
yeah, it's true. We all got our cross to bear. Okay. I don't have any other reviews or any kind of like. State of the pod kind of stuff, but if you want to reach out to us, let us know if you've seen Sangre before, or if you have anything to add, want to reach out, you can hit us up at waxingtheporpoise.com or either of our socials. Instagram is waxingtheporpoise and Twitter is at waxingtheporp. Do either of you guys have any final thoughts or anything that after we've kind of marinated in it about Sangre?
The only thing I can say is I can't think of another movie in my entire life where both mimes and clowns were heroes. So good on this movie for breaking the mold.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah, I struggle to think as well. The only thing with those clowns, I thought their clown makeup was pretty rad. Like it wasn't like your stock clown. Like they had some funky flavors. Like the orange faced clown with like the fucking slits in the eyes, I thought was especially dope. And it reminded me of Modern Family when Cam's going over clowning and like that whole subgenre, like the different kinds of clowns. Like,
yeah,
that's such a good episode. I'm a latecomer to Modern Family, but that's like one of those things like I remember you used to watch that while it was on, Steve. And I was like, yeah, fuck that show. I'll never watch that. And now I'm like, hey, have you ever heard of Modern?
Yeah.
Pretty dope.
I heard the kids watch this Modern Family.
It fell off towards the end. I think.
Did it?
I don't even think we finished the last 3 or 4 seasons. I mean, it's like we've talked about multiple times. These shows that are successful, they're like, we're just going to fucking run it until the wheels fall off. Quality be damned. And yeah, the first few seasons we really liked, but then it just got, I mean, how do you keep it going for that long and still be funny? But,
I'll tell you how. You be Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's the only answer.
Dude, that is,
where like
that is such a good example. Yeah,
that's the only example because that's like built into the DNA that they are sitcom characters. And the saddest thing in the world is when a sitcom character has outstayed its logical welcome. Like, why is this character not in college? Or why is this person living with their parents? Or whatever. That's, I think, what happened with Modern Family. But with Always Sunny, it's perfect because those people should never succeed.
Yeah.
They should be wallowing in their own filth. That's their point.
Well, and I bet it's because they have the most control over the show, and they're funny people, so they can just keep making funny shit where, you know, these huge network shows, the bigger it gets, the more outside unfucking funny people get involved, and they're like, well, what if Claire got a job at a Quiznos, and, you know, wouldn't that be funny? It's like, no, it's not fucking funny. Just let the funny people make. Yeah, Always Sunny is a great example. That show is so.
What if this rich girl got a job making sandwiches?
Yeah,
wild.
Yeah.
Sign me a check.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can even see that now in like it's Always Sunny. They came together for their own podcast, and they go back retro through like their old seasons and like working through those, and there's still even, you know, meat on the bone and like, you know, like bringing up background and inside stuff when they were, and that shit's funny as hell. I'm usually like, recently I'm kind of jaded on like how it seems like more and more like 8 or 9 years after it's become popular, now there's way more celebrities getting into the podcast game, and like it's like an super easy transition because you have like the built-in fan base and everything. But some of them I let slide. Like to me, like that one's a really good one. And then the one that last week, I can't remember who was talking about it. The Fly on the Wall, or maybe it was a couple episodes ago with Dana Carvey and David Spade. Have their own podcast called Fly on the Wall, and I've listened to a couple episodes of that, and they're super funny. I think Naderade was talking about it, how like they'll talk about like how like present day shit, like how John Lovitz was on like he had like court seats to like a Knicks game, and he texts them like, "My feet are on the floor," like jealous, like, but he did it in like a Lovitz voice that he just nailed. That was hilarious. Like,
love Lovitz.
Yeah.
If you like, I mean, I only watch there are very few podcasts I watch or listen to. The Sunny one I do watch occasionally, and then what was the other one that I was just going to bring up? Oh, I also like celebrities doing it that are relatively recent to it. Is Tim Heidecker's podcast? It's pretty fucking hilarious. That's a sardonic motherfucker.
Yeah, that's a guy I've never got into, and he's one of the people. He's like one of those kind of people that frustrates me because I can never know when he's
how serious he is.
Real. And that's a real problem for me. Like I have trouble reconciling that in my mind. Those kinds of people. Sometimes those kinds of people are really interesting to me, but there's a certain brand where if I can't figure out the line of when they're the character or when they're being real, it frustrates me to no end.
I get that. I think if you want to see Tim at probably his most normal, that's probably the venue for it.
Okay.
I don't think he typically go. I think it's just called. It's called Office Hours with Tim Heidecker. So it's pretty good, I think.
I like that other dude that he pals around with that has his own show. I can't remember his fucking name, but it's real popular on Netflix. What is it called?
On Netflix?
I think his name's Tim.
Yeah, Tim Robinson.
Robinson? That guy's funny. I've seen him in stuff that I thought was really funny. And the Eric guy. I've seen him in other stuff separated from Heidecker. I can't remember his last name.
Dude, Randy.
He's like that big ass dude.
You and Tim look like you could be brothers. Have you ever seen that before?
Who, me
Tim
or
Heidecker?
Andy?
God, that's a huge insult to poor Tim, but thank you.
Wait, maybe it's just the picture I'm looking at, but
I don't know. He's much thinner than I am typically, for one. But yeah, I'll
He
take
kind
that.
of fluctuates. He's like a Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's been bigger. He's been smaller. I think he's on the smaller side now, but I'll take it.
Yeah, he's always one of those ones that's like in a kind of a weird gray area. Like, yeah.
all right, I'm going to share my screen real quick. Tell me these guys, maybe not brothers, but cousins? Is that just me? No? Hang on.
I'm not.
I don't
I'm
see
not
it.
seeing.
Oh, hang on. All right, well, fuck me.
I don't know.
Maybe if you
I'm
had glasses on, it might be a little bit closer. And you're talking about Randy or me?
Our skin, or
I'm
both of our
talking
skins are pasty whites.
I'm talking Randy, not you, buddy.
Okay.
That's fucking interesting, man. That's fucking interesting.
All right.
Speaking of a white Russian.
Well, before we get out of here, do you want to plug Straight Chillin' one more time before we call it a day, Randy?
Yeah, Straight Chilling Podcast. We do weekly horror movie reviews. We've been doing it for a long time. It's very unserious, but a lot of fun, I'm told. Certainly fun for me, because I don't have to listen to it. I just have to participate in it. Yeah, check it out. I don't know what else to say, but there you go.
Yeah, well, they do all kinds of stuff. They have, for people that are Patreon or patrons, there's all kinds of mini casts that they have. They do a lot of cool stuff outside of the normal show. I've been listening since like 2017, 2018-ish. So like when Bob and Soju came on and you coming on now, it's like come full circle. Like always wanting to like do a podcast and then like, listening to your guys' show and becoming part of like the community that have kind of through osmosis or like moths to a flame that have been attracted to your show. It's been a really cool experience. Like, I mean, Steve by proxy too. We've gone on Ghoulish now with like Logan, Naderade, and Nate Part 2, and we've been on a Cut Above a couple times. Had you guys come on. It's just a really cool vibe and a really cool community that has, whether intended or not, has come about. So like I said, this is kind of full circle, and I tried not to fangirl too hard, and I think now I'm kind of, now that we've gone through 50 episodes, like it's easier to temper that, but it's been super cool nonetheless hearing your insights, and on this film in particular this was a super fun time for me. So I appreciate you coming on. Check out Straight Chillin' wherever you get your podcasts. They're all over YouTube. They do cool shit, even like fucking like tiki themed cocktail drinks to films and just like all kinds of cool shit surrounding the show. So check them out.
Too much shit.
Thanks, dude. You're like one of the unsung heroes too, with like the all the graphic elements that you contribute to the show, and like all, like I got almost every one of the shirts that you guys have put out that are super dope.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorites, the Satanic Panic. Yeah,
one of like I think 3 purchases of that particular tee, so I appreciate it.
Again, Randy's being modest, so don't
I actually don't know if that's far from the truth. Let me be real, but I'm not even being sarcastic when I say that. But yeah, I do really appreciate all that, man. It's very sweet of you to say. But I'm glad that we have this crazy community that popped up, and I'm certainly glad that people have recognized by listening to our show that the bar for entry in podcasting is very low. So very easy to clear. Get in there, get your dumb shit out there like we did. That's what I suggest.
Yeah, I mean, even if for nothing else, just to try it if you're on the fence. Like I was on the fence for a lot of years and just kind of jumped into it. And if nothing else, like I don't have any illusions about this, like making money off of it or anything like that. But
That's
it's just it's a really cool way to keep connected with people, and it like a reason to get on the horn every week and like kind of to spice it up, and then all the things that have sprouted off from it and meeting new people like remotely and through the pandemic. That was like a real popular thing, people starting a podcast, and I'd be lying if I didn't want to feed into that trend. But it's been a really cool experience and thing to do and look forward to on a weekly basis. So anyway, I'm rambling. So that's time for, and I know Steve, you got the look in your eye. It's Pacific time. It's dinner time. So we got to get going here.
I agree with
final
everything
thoughts?
you said.
In particular, the dinner comment.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah, it's good to have a reason to get together with people. And Randall, it was great to have you. Love to have you back.
Thank you, man.
Indeed. Yeah. Good times had by all for sure. So yeah, thanks again, Randy.
Quick question for Jim. You said you had 800 episodes or 500 episodes. What was it?
You have 176,000. I think you guys are on like
69,000 episodes.
Fuck, is it like 410 or 415 now? I can't
415
remember.
is what we're going into, I think, this week. Yeah.
Okay, so I was thinking it was like 8 years or something worth.
Yeah.
There were some gaps, so like I think we started in 2016 or 17. Jim was in there pretty early.
Okay.
I know that much, but my memory is terrible, so it was somewhere in that range.
I think for like the last 4 or 5 years, you guys have done one without fail every week. So it stacks up to like 52 a year. So
Let me tell you, there's some vacation time coming up that we have to prepare for by not having evenings available. So I'm so glad that that's appreciated because scheduling is a fucking nightmare.
no, dude, I can only imagine. Yeah. And it's tough to navigate, like, especially when you have other guests and stuff on and like keeping like that regiment each week, you know. I'm sure there's times when it feels like it's easier because you have that regiment, but I mean, there's still a grind associated with it. But for me, this is like having the conversations and things that sprout out organically, and when you're in the moment are what make it all worth it. So yeah, I mean, that, like, not only that, like, I'm a fan of the show, but just like the testament of like you guys sticking to it, like, every day or every week through holidays and like planning ahead and like banking episodes. I mean, there's a lot more that goes into it in the background than you would think. And then, yeah, that's just a testament to like the consistency level and you guys always getting better and things like that. Like it's no small feat, you know? So
I really appreciate it. And I can't ask you to continue to fluff me any further. That's just,
yeah, I think we're near climax zone. We should be.
All right, cool.
Cool. Thanks, man. Again, really appreciate you coming on. It's been a real treat for sure.
Yeah. Been a treat for me too. Thanks, guys.
Booyah. Next week, what are we doing? Oh, speaking of which, we're going to have Thon on from Ghoulish Uni, because I guess he's been balls deep in the Richard Murdaugh stuff. And now that that's come to a close and we've had time for it to marinate a little bit, we're going to do just a part 2, just kind of follow up and rap about our thoughts about the guilty verdict and whether or not the prosecution held up their end of the bargain and whatever else comes out of that. So yeah, we'll be talking part 2, Murdaugh, next week. And then this with a vote of yes from Steve, which I'm still actually pretty shocked that you dug on this film, and I'm glad. It puts us at an 86.1 approval rate so far. So let the good times roll. I'm on a hot streak here. So which is subject to change for sure, but because I mean, the longer we keep doing this, the more oddball shit I'm gonna keep picking. So
it's the law of big numbers, man. The more you do, the more there's definitely more bad movies than good. So
it's true. we haven't even touched a trauma film. So, but Steve's a real card too. There's been times when I'm like, oh yeah, no doubter, and it's just like, no, that movie sucked. So that makes it interesting too. So cool. So yeah, thanks for joining us for this episode. Meet us back next week, same place, same time. In case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Goodbye.